Hello everyone and welcome to Film Sandwich. I'm Kid Ron Burgundy, and on today's episode we are going to give you a little time-lapse tutorial on the Ace Pro 2. Now there are two ways to do time-lapse with the Ace Pro 2. One way is the time-lapse mode, which what it does is it will capture a frame ever so often and go ahead and make a video for you. Now the max that you can make that video is 4K, and there is another way that you can do a time-lapse, which I prefer, and that's called interval mode. Now what interval mode does is it will take a full picture depending on the interval that you want. So let's say you want to take a picture every second. So every second it will take a picture, and then you can take and make that picture either a 12 megapixel picture, or you can go up to the 50 megapixel picture, which is what I prefer. And also you can record your photos in RAW. So that way you have more options in your post editing, which is what I prefer. Now when you do interval recording and you record in RAW, it's definitely more steps, but the outcome I feel is much better. With time-lapse mode, you're only going to get a video at the end, a 4K video. With interval mode, it's like an 8K video. And you have a bunch of latitude in your pushing your colors and your exposure around, as to where with the time-lapse, it only spits out a video and all you have is a 4K video. So you can only do so much with your color grading and exposure changes. So let's go ahead and dive into how you do that both ways, how you record it and how you edit it. So with your camera already connected and your preview screen open, we're going to navigate to the time-lapse mode. There is, if you click the little three lines there, you can get to a menu here that will show all of the modes here, so you can just quickly click on there instead of having to scroll through it like this. Sometimes, you know, if your phone is being a little ornery with the touch screen, or if you have like a protector on there, you might get a little bit of resistance, but a little bit faster that way. So now you're in time-lapse mode. I currently have this set to auto, but if you wanted to go to your manual settings, you can adjust those as you see fit. And then go down there. And right over here, you're having your interval duration. I have mine set to 0.5 seconds, but you can set yours to whatever duration you see fit. It goes all the way up to 2 minutes there. I'm going to set mine to 1 second, and then you can adjust your recording length if you want it to stop after a certain amount of time, but I like to leave mine at no limit. So once you're done there, you just hit record, and then it's going to just record frames in a 4K resolution. And every time that you see the counter pass there, it'll tell you how many frames of video that it got, or how long the video will be. So you'll click through there. So you see there, after 30 seconds, you got 1 frame of video. So as that clicks off, as you record your time lapse, you'll see the counter count higher there. And then once you're done, you just go ahead and click stop. Now that you've recorded your time lapse in the time lapse video mode, you'll navigate to where your time lapse video is. You'll select that, and then you'll see here that we have a little bit of, it's kind of a long video. It's about 2, almost 3 minutes video. So I'm just scrubbing through here so you can see the time lapse happen a little quickly. We can hit the play button and you can see those clouds flowing through there. Now all this is going to be is a 4K video only. You can do some color editing if you want. You can go here, you can go down to color, you can choose the color plus, you can go to filter, or you can go to adjust, where you can go in and adjust, you know, the exposure and temperature, contrast, like that. But it's not going to give you the same results as if you used the raw photos like I did in interval mode. So that way gives you a bit more control on your exposure and everything like that afterwards. Another cool thing with doing it this way in the time-lapse video mode, you can go here to dynamic time-lapse, and that's going to give you some different movements here that you can add to your time-lapse here. As you can see, you can kind of zoom in and kind of slight pan, and then this one here gives you more of a pan and a zoom in another direction. This one's more of a strictly a pan. This one pans the other direction, and then this one here is just a zoom straight on. So that is a little cool feature that you can add there. Maybe I'll add that one there. Click the checkbox, exit out of there, and then all you need to do is, as you can see, you can add 4K, you can do 1080, 720, you can adjust your bit rate, and then you click export, and then that's going to go ahead and export your time lapse. Okay, now that you're done, it gives you an option to go ahead and open your local folder. So we're going to go ahead and navigate to our local folder, and we'll find our time lapse there. And as you can see, it is going to play automatically here, but you can scrub through there and see it a little faster since it's a 3-minute time lapse. But as you can see, it added a little bit of that zoom movement to the time lapse. Now you can just go ahead and upload that straight to social media or wherever you like. With your camera connected to the app and you're in the preview mode, we're going to go ahead and go to interval mode here, and these are going to be my settings for the interval mode. So based on the time lapse that you're doing, you're going to adjust your exposure settings here. You can be in auto. I'm going to go a little bit brighter here for the... Okay, so I'm just showing you this here in the settings in my office here, since I did not record it while I was doing the time lapse out and about. So you can just adjust your settings here to however you feel your conditions are for what you're going to be time lapsing. And then once you've adjusted your manual settings, you'll make sure that you have your, I have a timer off, because once I hit record, I'm never going to touch the camera again, so I don't need to have a timer in between every photo. You're going to go to your interval duration. I set mine to 1 second, but if you're doing like longer time lapses, you might have to, longer shutter. If you're dragging your shutter more, you might have to do some longer intervals, but I'm going to just do 1 second here. And then you can adjust your recording length if you want it to stop after a certain amount of time, but I just put mine at no limit, so there's no cap on the amount of recording that I do. And then I just hit record. And then it's not going to give you a preview for every photo it takes, it's just going to give you the number of each photo it takes. And then once you're done, you hit stop. And then for the interval mode, you're going to put those files into a computer and do some extra editing. So there's a few more steps here. Here we are in Photoshop, and what you're going to do is File, Open, navigate to where your raw files are. So I have mine in I made an interval sunset time lapse folder, and I have my raw files here, card 1. And then we're going to grab the first one, go all the way to the end, hold Shift and click and hold, and that will select all your files. And then you can just go to Open. Now it will take a moment for Photoshop to open up those 50 megapixel raw photos. Okay, I'm going to cut out that wait time there. Alright, so now we have our photos opened up in Photoshop here, and you can scroll down there and you can see the exposure changes there. So what you'll do is click the first photo and highlight it, go all the way to the end, hold down Shift and click the last photo, and that should highlight all the photos in the sequence here. And then we are going to, I always start with auto, see what auto does there. And then I will go down and kind of go down to like a middle photo here and see those. And then I'll go to light. I'll bring my highlights down and my shadows up. Everybody's going to do it their own way. This is just how I do it. I'm going to bring the contrast up here, the whites down a little, and we'll go to color. And we'll boost the vibrance and the saturation just a little bit. bring up the texture, clarity, and the dehaze. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong one. Dehaze just a little. And then sometimes I like to go into this color mixer and you can kind of bring up and down some of the, isolate some of the colors here. So like the blue, I can bring it brighter or a little darker. Reds, you can mess with the reds a little. Oranges, yellows. There's not really much green here, but we'll bring up the greens a little bit of purple, a little bit of magenta. And then I'd like to go down to detail and like bring up the sharpening a bit and a little bit of manual noise reduction. Now you can do the AI denoising, but that'll take some time to process through all of these photos. So I'm not going to do that today. Plus we don't have a lot of noise. And then that is pretty much it on the processing of the photos. You can go all the way down here to the end, and the last one, you know, it's got a little bit of light there, but the sun has gone down completely, and then that's right as it's on the horizon. So now you are finished here in Photoshop. You can click Done, and now we'll go to After Effects. With After Effects open, what you're going to do is go up to File, go to Import, File, and then you're going to find where your time lapse is here. So I have mine here, raw. And then all you have to do is click the very first file in the row and make sure that camera raw sequence and create composition are both checked. And then we're going to click import. And then after you do that, it opens up a little dialog box here for camera raw, but we've already done all of our camera raw stuff. So we're going to click OK. And now we have our time lapse in there. As you can see, it already created a composition and put all of the individual pictures into the composition one frame after the other. And if you see here, probably take a little bit since it's a 50 megapixel to change, but you can kind of click through here and kind of see the progress of your time lapse. And if you go all the way back to the beginning here and you click on, press 0 on your keyboard, it will start to process each frame by frame in the timeline here. That way you can get like a real-time preview. It won't go probably through the full 30 seconds, but and we won't make you go wait for all of that right now. But as you can see here, it did like a little quick thing there. Anyways, as you can see also, it is like a 4:3 aspect ratio. If you wanted to crop it 16:9 and add some motion to it, you can. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to keep it 4:3. That way I can compare it with the other time-lapse mode. So go up here to File, Exports. Actually, go up to Composition. Composition. Go up to Composition. Go up to Add to Adobe Media Encoder Q. And that will open up Adobe Media Encoder. Okay, now we are got the file loaded up here in Media Encoder. I'm just gonna click on the settings here. Okay, we got our export settings here. I'm gonna click on the, first I'm gonna find a nice little template here. We'll go with high quality 4K, but then we will click the match source so it gets all of our resolution correct here. All right, so now we have a 8192 by 6144 image, and then I'm going to export this out to a particular folder. Okay, I call it the Ace Pro 2 Interval Time Lapse and click Save. I just like to make sure that, scroll down here and make sure I have my bitrate encoding to constant bitrate instead of variable bitrate. Variable bitrate will change the bitrate according to how your image looks. Like in the dark areas, it'll give you less bitrate, and then it'll give you more in the more detailed areas, but I want to keep it constant throughout the entire image. That way it always stays looking the same quality and it doesn't get any pixelated blocks during the dark areas. Anyways, we're going to click OK here. And then we've already picked where we want it to go to. So we're just going to click the play button here and it will start to export. Now these are 50 megapixel raw images, so it's probably going to take a bit for it to render. So I will speed this up for us so we don't have to wait. Okay, now your export is all done with the interval time lapse. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and play each one of these one right after the other so you can see for yourself the difference. All right, there you have it, guys. That is my tutorial and the time-lapse versus interval mode. I prefer interval mode because I'm a professional and I really love to just tweak the image the best possible outcome that I can. But for some people, the time-lapse mode is going to be just fine because, bam, you already have a file ready to go once you're done. Thanks, everyone, for watching. I'm Kid Ron Burgundy. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can stay up to date to all our tutorials and reviews.